The United States bombed Iran. They declared victory. They lifted all oil sanctions. Now they are buying the oil. 4 sentences, 116 days. Connect the dots. They told us this war was about nuclear weapons. They said Iran was months away from a bomb. The intelligence was leaked to friendly media. The drumbeat started. And on February 28, 2026, Operation Epic Fury began. $29 billion in bombs, missiles and carrier strike group. B-2 stealth bombers flying 30-hour missions from Missouri all the way to the skies over Iran. The largest American military deployment in the Middle East since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. But here is what they buried in the fine print. One day before the first bomb fell, Oman's foreign minister stood in front of cameras and announced a breakthrough. Iran had agreed to never stockpile enriched uranium. Iran had agreed to let IAEA inspectors in. Iran had even agreed to downgrade its existing stockpiles to the lowest level possible and convert them into fuel. The Omani foreign minister said, and we quote, "A peace deal is within our reach." Talks were scheduled to resume on March 2nd, 2 days later. The bombs fell on February 28th, 1 day after the breakthrough, 2 days before the scheduled talks. Now ask yourself why the bombs could not wait 48 hours. Fast forward to this week. June 21st, 2026, Lake Lucerne, Switzerland, a luxury hotel overlooking the mountains. United States Vice President J.D. Vance sits across from Iranian negotiators. Qatar and Pakistan broker the talks. The IAEA chief is in the room. And what walks out of that room? The United States Treasury issues a 60-day sanctions waiver. The official document covers the production, delivery, and sale of Iranian crude oil, petrochemical products, and petroleum products. All cleared, banking cleared, insurance cleared, transportation cleared, every service connected to Iranian oil exports, all waived. America spent $29 billion bombing Iran, then issued a formal government document allowing the world to buy Iranian oil again. That is not foreign policy. That is a business plan. But it does not stop there. Iran has over $100 billion in frozen assets sitting in banks around the world. $6 billion of that has been sitting frozen in Qatar since 2019. That money originally came from Iranian oil sales to South Korea before American sanctions cut it off. This week, Iran and Qatar signed a new memorandum of understanding specifically on releasing those funds. The money is coming back, $6 billion, unlocked after the bombs. Now, here is the detail most channels will completely ignore. J.D. Vance explained exactly where that money is going. He called it a classic Trump deal. His words were that if Iranian assets are ever unfrozen, they are going to make American farmers richer and feed the Iranian people. He specifically mentioned American corn, American soy, and American wheat. Read that again slowly. America freezes Iranian oil money, bombs Iran for $29 billion, then unfreezes the Iranian money, then routes that same money back into American farm exports. The bombs created the leverage. The leverage produced the deal. The deal sends the money back to America. This is not a coincidence. This is a transaction. Now zoom out further, and this picture becomes even larger. Before the first bomb fell, before Operation Epic Fury, Trump made his first foreign trip of his second term. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates. $600 billion in investment commitments from Saudi Arabia. $1.2 trillion in economic agreements with Qatar. 200 billion more from the United Arab Emirates. Over $2 trillion total flowing toward American industry, defense, technology and manufacturing. Just days before the war began, Saudi Arabia signed a 20-year contract to import American natural gas. Qatar opened the Golden Pass LNG export terminal in Texas, taking a 70% stake in American liquefied natural gas shipments to Europe. The United Arab Emirates announced it was leaving OPEC entirely to coordinate energy policy directly with Washington. Energy deals signed before the bombs fell. Then the bombs fell. The Strait of Hormuz closed. Oil prices hit $126 a barrel at their peak. European gas benchmarks nearly doubled. Asia faced fuel rationing. Arab states that had just hosted Trump for those trillion-dollar signing ceremonies watched Iranian missiles strike their airports, their military bases, their infrastructure. They became dependent on American protection overnight. And now they are buying more American weapons, investing more in American technology, and coordinating directly with American energy policy outside of OPEC control. The war did not disrupt the business plan. The war completed the business plan. Now, the Memorandum of Understanding signed on June 17th commits the United States to ensure financing of at least $300 billion for the rehabilitation and economic development of Iran. $300 billion to rebuild a country that American bombs destroyed. And those reconstruction contracts will not go to Iranian firms. We watch this in Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction, no weapons found. Reconstruction contracts went to American companies. We watch this in Libya. Humanitarian intervention. Gaddafi removed. Oil fields reopened. Now we are watching it in Iran. In real time. With every receipt visible. The mainstream media will call Lake Lucerne a diplomatic success. They will celebrate IAEA inspectors going back in. They will use words like progress, stability, and hope. What they will not do is connect the timeline for you. One day before the bombs, a peace deal was within reach. $29 billion later, a different deal is on the table. That different deal hands Iran back its oil exports, unlocks its frozen cash, routes that cash into American farms, commits $300 billion to reconstruction, and locks Gulf energy policy into American coordination for the next generation. The nuclear threat was the reason given. The oil waivers, the frozen assets, the agricultural export agreements, the LNG contracts, the reconstruction billions and the $2 trillion in Gulf investment deals signed before the first missile was fired tell a completely different story. War is not the opposite of commerce. Sometimes war is just commerce with a different budget line. This is the story behind the story. Here we are. Subscribe because you deserve to know the full picture.